So, welcome to episode 4 of Twitch streamer interviews. My name is Lemmy, and once a week, every Sunday at 7 p.m. Queensland time, we do Twitch streamer interviews where we bring a guest on and we just have a real talk about what they're doing, what they're up to, and just have a real conversation in a podcast style manner. So if you want to check this out, this is on Twitch every Sunday night, as I said, at 7 p.m. at twitch.tv/LemmiAU. If you tune in late or you can't view the whole thing and you want to watch it later, it will be uploaded to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/LemmiAU. So tonight's guest is Grasshopper5674, or I prefer to call him Josh. How you doing tonight, man?
Yeah, not too bad, man. How's yourself?
Yeah, really good, dude. Really good. What have you been up to, man?
Oh man, nothing too much really. Nah, I'm kidding. I started doing I've been studying at TAFE all last year. I was doing IT. I did like a Cert 3 and 4, and then at the start of this year, I started a diploma in digital and interactive games. So that's pretty cool.
Awesome. So let's start at the beginning and work our way up. So I first met you almost 3 years ago now, and I was playing Call of Duty, and you came into the stream and instantly kind of just broed down. And man, I've been thinking about this since you decided like that you'd like to come on. Do you always find it that easy to make friends? Because I feel like you do, because when I met you, it was just like instant. You know what I mean?
Yes and no. I mean, some people I don't click too well with, and I think that's because I'm a bit upfront sometimes. But mostly, yeah. I mean, I get along with a lot of people. I try and find like a certain medium between, being too upfront and, not being open enough. And I guess that seems to be comfortable with a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think like you have like a depth in your personality where you can pretty much have something to say on pretty much everything. Do you feel like that helps?
I think so, yeah. Like, I spend a lot of time just thinking about a lot of general stuff, interactions with people, certain life situations and whatnot. And I feel that's what helps me gather a personal opinion on a lot of things as well.
Absolutely.
And
So it's like,
creates. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, so being like well informed about what's going on around you, and keeping on introducing like knowledge to yourself is like been something that you would kind of accredit to making friends easily.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I mean, it gives me something to talk about with people, and it gives them a bit more of a perspective as well as, I can get their perspective as well, and it might open my eyes up to a few more things that I didn't realize to begin with.
Yeah. Oh, cool, dude. Cool. Well, that was my first question for you, because I just wanted to get that out of the way, because I really wanted to ask you that one. So explain to me. So recently you've got into the diploma of, was it interactive media and video games? Or
Yeah, digital and interactive games.
absolutely. So you did the Cert 3 in IT, and now you're doing the diploma. How are you finding it so far?
It's a bit different compared to like the Cert 3 and the Cert 4, because they were more technology based in terms of like computers, mobile phones, bit of web development, things like that. Whereas this is more game based. So, it's good though, because it's a ground up course. So, it gives you like an introduction to, what a video game is, and, all the basics and whatnot. And then it takes you from there, which is good.
Have you made any games yet?
Nah, I'm not too far into it. And sadly, I'm a little behind. I've been a little less motivated than I would like to be in the last week, and there's no reason for it. I've just been lazy.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. So at what point did you decide to go into the video game like diploma after the IT course?
I was doing the Cert 4 at the time, and Mum's partner, he came home with a pamphlet because they went to a local shopping centre, and the guy was handing out a pamphlet and was like, yeah, do you know someone would be interested in this, and he's like, yeah, sure, I'll take it home. I know someone who's interested. And that was it, really. I looked at it, and I'm like, yeah, that'll be pretty cool to get into.
Yeah, absolutely. So is there any like long-term strategy in terms of like what you want to do after you finish the diploma at all, or?
Not anything long term. I think, just until I get a bit more comfortable with, development or whatever I want to get into, whether it be, graphical design or whatever, I'll, just start off small, maybe make a few free games here and there or something, and then just go from there.
Yeah. So would you make, like, if you could make any sort of genre or any sort of game, what do you reckon you'd go with?
That's a tough one. I'm really big on adventure games, so I might make something like that, or
Yeah.
maybe like a top-down shooter or something. They're pretty fun as well.
Yep. Oh,
I like those.
oh, cool, man. Cool. That's awesome, dude. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm sorry. I'm so glad to have you on the Twitch streamer interviews thing, man. Because like I wanted to catch up with you for a chat for a while now, and I'm just stoked, man. I'm stoked.
Yeah,
So
how we left off.
yeah, exactly. So for you guys that don't know, Josh, as I was saying earlier, Josh came into the stream almost 3 years ago, and we used to like hang out on Skype and talk in Twitch chat, and talk somewhat here and there on the phone, and just all across the board. And then of course, like, I don't know, just due to life and like being busy and stuff, like kind of didn't get the opportunity, especially after I moved, to like talk as frequently. But yeah, he's been around since pretty much almost day one with the Twitch streams. So yeah, it's good to have you on, man. Now, so have you always lived in Townsville?
Yeah, born and bred. Yeah.
And what do you think of Townsville?
I don't mind the place. I'm more concerned about the weather, really. It's just way too hot up here, but typical Queensland weather. You've experienced enough of it in the last.
Mate, it's too much. It's too much, man. It's too much. It's just so humid. Like, I know that sounds so generic, but coming from a place where it's never really humid at all, especially in summer and winter, it's like crazy, man. Like, it can be 20 degrees and still feel like 30, and blows my mind. I'm sweaty all the time. All my clothes stink.
It was crazy though, because like we had a storm the other night after like a really hot, like bumped up to like 37, 38 degrees, which is different for how it's been all summer here. And yeah, then we had a storm that night and it just cleared it all up. We had like a few cool nights afterwards, and then it got back to typical Townsville weather.
Yeah. And so, like, I've never been to Townsville, but Townsville's like, would you say it's like a medium-sized town, I guess? Or would it be more on the small end, or?
Yeah, about a medium size. Like, it's not too small, but it's not huge either.
Yeah. And the reason I ask about what do you think of the place where you're living at is, I remember talking to you and you had a very, very intense story about something that happened when you were like walking home. You know that story?
Yeah, I remember.
Okay. Is it cool if I ask you to tell that story?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm pretty comfortable talking about it. Like,
Sweet.
pretty much. I was walking home from the gym. It was not too late. It was like 9 o'clock at night, something like that. And I saw a guy driving towards me. Like, he drove through, like, I was on the right side of the road, and there was a service station just across the road from me. And I saw him driving towards me, and he's like flashing his lights at me and stuff. And I'm like, okay, does this guy know me? Is he trying to get my attention? Is he a mate? Is he gonna give me a lift home or something? What's the story? And then he sort of pulls up beside me and he's like, you got a problem, mate? And I'm just like, no, I'm walking home. He goes, oh yeah, I noticed that you were fucking staring, and starts carrying on. I'm just like, mate, you're driving towards me in your car. I'm gonna make sure you're not gonna hit me. I'm walking home. And he's like, oh yeah, you better fucking watch it. I'm gonna bust a cap in your ass. And I didn't say anything after that. That was his exact words, trying to act all tough.
Yeah.
And I just walked away. I'm like, I'm just gonna leave it here. I'm not gonna antagonize the guy. I just want to go home. And then I heard him stop his car, and I heard him open up his door. I was probably about 10 meters down the road from that. And I looked back, and he was holding something in his hand. I didn't stick around long enough to find out what it was, but he was aiming at me like as if he had a gun. So I wasn't taking any chances. I ran around the corner, seen some bushes that were there, hid inside these bushes, cut my leg open on a stick while I was hiding inside it. And then he drove past, and all I could hear was him, "Where are you, cunt?" like carrying on. And then he drove past, and as he's driven past me, he's gone to turn down a road, and I've come out from behind him, ran back to the service station, and called the police from there.
That's so intense, dude. That's such a crazy story, man. That's awesome. And so, because I'm pretty sure you were talking to me like either the night that it happened or like the next day or something, and I could just
like an hour after it happened.
yeah, and I could tell that it was an intense situation, man. Because I mean, a lot of us like we have experiences similar to that, but not quite as like full on. You know what I mean? Like sometimes, like I remember living in Shepparton, and I'd like walk home from being out. I was like 18 or whatever, and you just run into like gangs of like people like a few years older, and they would like hassle you or whatever, and you'd have to like use like your charisma to sort of get your way out of the situation, because they're not very nice like dudes, and you can kind of get the sense of that as soon as you see them. But usually at the end of the day, you know, you get away and stuff, and that's the main thing. But with your story, it's like this guy's like trying to hunt you down, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, it was good though, because like what had happened was the guy wasn't very smart. He hung around the area, and there was like a night owl shop, like a 24-hour shop, not far from the server, like just across the road. And he went there causing trouble as well. And while I was being interviewed by the cops and they were getting my story, I gave him a description of what he looked like and, you know, what his car looked like and everything. And they saw it on the cameras on the servo, like when he drove through, which was probably a stupid thing for him to do anyway. And so they found his car just over at the Night Owl, and there was him causing trouble over there as well. So they sent out another unit and they arrested him while I was getting interviewed.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that bit. They actually got him. And that's the cool part. He got arrested. That's awesome. But yeah, no, so that's why I asked the question, because I'm like, if that sort of stuff happens like where you live, it can kind of like taint your view of the place. So did it kind of do that? Was that like a point where you looked at Townsville in a different way, or?
A little bit, yeah. I'm a little more cautious these days. Like I'm not so, like, especially like I don't go out by myself at night anymore. I don't walk anywhere at night anymore. If I go anywhere, I get a lift or whatever else. I just refuse to walk at night after that. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. So did it like did it like spook you out like after it had happened? Like obviously now you're not walking on the streets and stuff, but did it kind of like rattle you up a bit?
For a few days it did, yeah. Like I was a bit rattled up about it, and it's not such a traumatizing thing now. Like I don't, you know, it's not something I'm losing any sleep over or anything, but it is something I'm aware of, and you know, it's just like real bad. Like just on the news and stuff, you hear about like carjackings on the regular and just similar stuff. Like not so much, you know, people holding guns, but you know, just like people getting bashed and stuff like that. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But like stuff like that's bound to happen anywhere. But you know, when you're hearing about it locally on the news on a regular basis, it's a bit of an eye opener.
Yeah, it is, man. It is like it kind of, I don't know, man. Like when I was in Shep, and it was like they rang out the statistics one year, and they were like, Shepparton is like in the top 5 in the state for robberies, drug-related thefts, stabbings, like assaults, all of this stuff. And it was like I was in school at the time. I was in like year 10 or something, and it came out, and all the kids, like, it's just interesting because at the time I'm like, oh yeah, like this is Shepparton, what a hilarious place. But then you get older and you're like, fuck, some shit could have went down. Like there was stories of like this guy who was walking home, and two people got out and like stabbed him like 29 times or some shit. And then like all over because he wouldn't give him his mobile phone. You know, and then like teachers would start bringing it into the classroom, being like, "Yo, don't go on these areas. Like, this is what's happened." And it's a really like, as a kid, I didn't really take it that serious, but looking back, it's kind of like, fuck, like I'm pretty lucky to get out of there.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And like even like not related to like violence and crime and whatever, like you still look back at certain things that you did when you were a kid and that you didn't really think much of. You had people saying, oh, that's not a good idea, and you go, well, nothing's happened now, sort of thing. But then
Mm.
you look back at it and you're just like, wow, I could have died, or just things like that.
Yeah, well, it's so easy to be like, no, I know it all when you're a kid. Like, I had
Yeah,
that. I had so many people telling me, don't do this, don't do this is a silly idea. And I would do them because I'm like, I thought I knew better. But really, they're just
yeah,
looking out for you, hey?
yeah. And like a similar thing, like in relation to that, was when I was probably about between the ages of 14 and 16. I used to go swimming at the local river, jumping out of the trees into the water and things like that. And you have people come and tell you all the time, oh yeah, there's crocs in there and this, that, and the other, and you're just like, oh, I haven't seen one yet. And like we'd see snakes in the water and stuff all the time, but they'd never come near us, so we weren't too bothered. And I used to like swim across that thing like to the other side. My mates would be like, oh yeah, we're gonna go jump out of this tree over here, and I'm like, yeah, I'll see you over there. I'm just gonna swim over. And just things like that, there could have been crocs in there. I could have been bitten, eaten,
Wait,
blah
do
blah
you
blah.
do you have do you have crocodiles up there?
Yeah,
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. So I've never lived anywhere where there's just crocs rolling around. Like, I see it on documentaries and on the TV and stuff, and I'm like, that must be such a surreal like environment to grow up in. Like, you gotta watch out for fucking crocodiles. Like, those things are like dinosaurs, man.
yeah.
So, do you see them often? Do they like go into the township ever?
No, I've never seen them
Hmm.
like in the town or anything. Like we go to like Billabong Century and stuff. I've seen them there, but I've never seen them. Oh, Billabong Century is like the local zoo here, but like I've never seen them in town.
Yeah, I was gonna say that because yeah, but if you go out of town, you might see some crocs.
Yeah, you're more likely to see them there.
Hmm. Hmm. True. Well, just one sec here. Okay. Um. So yeah. So growing up in Townsville, you've been there your whole life. And I remember at one point you got NBN and you started streaming.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was streaming before I had MBN, but it was just not quite as good. Quality was terrible. I look back at it now and I'm like, how did people watch this? This is bad.
Yeah, I used to do that, man. When I couldn't stream and I had ADSL, I think I had almost point 0.5 upload. And I would stream like black and white like Game Boy games that were emulated on the PC, which I'm pretty sure is pretty illegal. But yeah, I used to do that and it was like almost watchable. I remember those days.
Yeah, good
Look at
times, man.
Yeah, looking back now, it's like it sounds dumb, but it's like they're the best days of my life, man. Doing that stuff.
Like you look back at it, and like I look back at it now that I got a decent computer and I got decent internet and whatnot, and I'm like, I just made the best of what I had. Like my laptop was falling apart. The one that I used to stream off was like falling
Yeah.
apart. Had like a real dodgy capture card that was just bad quality, and my upload was shit, so quality of that was bad as well.
Yeah. Oh, I remember those days. I'm pretty sure most people in Australia have gone through a similar thing when they're streaming these days. It's kind of it's kind of funny looking back. Um,
Yeah.
so introduce to the viewers what you stream usually and anything else that might be relevant to your stream, so they can go and check you out and follow you if they're into what you're doing.
Yeah, sure. I mostly stream Resident Evil games. It was just a game that I started off with and game that I just sort of stuck with when it came to streaming. But I do a lot of old school games, mostly PlayStation 1 and 2, mixture of everything here and there. Play a bit of Guitar Hero more recently. Do that on stream every so often, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. You do stream a lot of Resident Evil, and I remember like you've been playing those games for years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What brings you and draws you to the Resident Evil franchise?
It was more something. It was just a test to see what I could like bring in terms of like viewers and whatnot, and that was what it was about for me at that point in time. Was trying to get people to watch, because when you first start off and you have like like one person and they're not even talking, you're just like, why am I doing this? But when I started playing Resident Evil more, it was bringing in like 5 people here and there, and I was doing speedruns when I first started out as well, and that was just a spontaneous thing because I was looking at like the leaderboards and stuff for the times, and then I started doing it myself, and I'm like, I'm beating these times. I want to record it or I want to stream it, and then have it be official, uploaded to the leaderboards and things like that, and then it just sort of went from there.
Yeah, well, speedrunning is something that over time has really grown on me because I like watching that twice a year games, awesome games done quick, and it's so interesting, man. So did you ever break a record?
I broke a few, yeah, like for
Yeah,
the first 2 Resident Evil games, and then
that's what I'm talking about, man. Do you still have those titles or what?
nah, I branched away from it, and
Mm.
I ended up telling people a few of my strats. I was just like, yeah, have the times. I'm done with this.
Yeah. Well, I think the speedrunning community are fairly like open in terms of sharing different things, and of course, when you have to upload the footage as proof that you've beaten a time, because everyone can just watch that and steal your tricks anyway. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's what lets it evolve and grow. And I watch some of these speedruns, man. They're insane, absolutely insane, because everyone's just. It's not like they're. How do I say this? It's not like they're deliberately sharing with each other, but it kind of just brings on its own sort of progression. Really cool.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. I like to watch it.
Like every now and then I still do like I've been playing Outbreak, like Outbreak File 1 and 2, like more recently with Yaka Snack
Yeah, I
and
remember. Yeah.
and another guy named Andy.
Mhm.
And for a while we were doing speedruns as well, and we still do them every so often, but usually we just sort of play it for fun.
Yeah,
Like
I've been watching
every
some of those streams, and you guys multi-stream it.
Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah,
it's
I
good fun.
remember. Yeah, I tune in every now and then and just and check it out. You guys were doing that every so often, like for a couple of weeks there. Do you guys still do that?
Every so often, yeah, not so much lately. Been a few things with like Yaka moving house and stuff. He just hasn't had the time to join us, and
Yep.
Andy does his own thing, and I just usually do my own thing as well. Like we still hang out on Discord and stuff, but we just sort of do our own thing.
Yeah. And so with the streaming thing, do you consider it to be like just a hobby thing or something that you'd like to grow, or is it? I've heard different answers. Like even some people, I remember Defiant Fall or Luke, he was saying that he's just trying to stream to grow like a small network of like friends that play together. So do you have any like goals in terms of what you're trying to get out of streaming at the moment?
Not particularly, no. It's like not at the moment. I just do it for the sake of it, and if people come in, they come in. If they don't, that's fine. I do it to pass time mostly. But if I do see that it's starting to go somewhere, I might put a bit more effort into it in terms of like production value and whatnot, and go
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, oh, that's cool, man. And so how did you first hear about Twitch? How'd you get onto it?
Funny story actually. I was playing COD with a mate years ago. It was probably about 5 years ago now, and I knew live streaming was a thing, but I didn't know any particular like avenues for it. And we found this guy's stream, and we would just send him stupid messages on PSN, so they come up on the stream, and then I just ended up hanging around on Twitch for a while.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens. Like a lot of people, or not so much anymore, but a lot of people came to my stream just to fuck around and be like, like send me messages or like whatever, or like say, haha, you're a shit Counter-Strike player or whatever it is. And then because because I was cool to them, like I don't really call people out unless it's really excessive. They kind of just like stick around for a bit. Like it sounds like, well, at least you stuck around for a little bit. I don't know if you watched it any other days apart from that, but it's a really interesting way of which you can sort of grow your audience.
Yeah. Well, it was more of a thing as well, just out of boredom, like
Mm.
because at the time. Like it was around the same time I met you, where I was not sleeping at night, sleeping during the day, and everything else. And I'd just go on there and just look for games that I was interested in, and just chat to people. That was it, really.
Yeah. Okay, so that was around the same time. Cool, man. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was kind of lonely at the time. Now that I think about it.
I used to be the same though, man. I used to get up. You remember? I used to get up at like 6, 7, 8 p.m. Sometimes even later. Like I would go to bed at 2 p.m., wake up at 10 p.m. type of thing. And
Yeah. And then
yeah,
you'd be late for your stream that you'd set up for like 8 o'clock.
I remember at one point I was waking up at 2 a.m. trying to stream at 8 p.m. You know what I mean? Like I was sleeping through the entire thing, and then I would stream at 2 a.m. and be so bummed about it. That's one of the things though. I've been trying to crack down on that recently with the consistency and stream schedule. I've had patches here or there of being like good at being on time, but I'm really having a red hot crack at it now, showing up at exactly 7 p.m. But it's always been a struggle. And I know a lot of people are like not happy about showing up at 8 and then nothing being there for until 6 hours later or something.
Yeah, like especially your Australian viewers when they had like work the next day, that pretty keen to see you, and then you come on at like 2 in the morning and they're asleep because they have work in the morning.
Well, also, man, I was back then, man. I was just like, I was such a mess in terms of being like a human being. Like, I believe I just finished TAFE course, and that was like the most work or whatever I'd completed in like years. And slowly over time, I think Twitch streaming for me has given me like a lot of good things, like knowing that if you show up on time, you can have great results and people don't get like hurt, and this like work ethic and the persistence and knowledge and experience with like growth and things like that. And it gave me so much. And I think like looking back, being that guy that streams at 2 a.m. and gets really sad because no one's there, they were weird days, man. Weird days.
And that's the thing though too, is like, if you're streaming at the same time, then you get yourself a consistent crowd. You get to know the same few people, and maybe newer people that come in as well at around the same time, and that's the best way to grow your stream, really.
That's exactly right. And so like let's say I stream exactly on the dot at 6:55 to be live at 7 p.m. for a month, and then I go a week streaming at 7:15, 7:45, whatever it is, then no one's turning up at 7 o'clock when I go back to it. Like barely anyone's turning up at 7. And it's one of those things where you really have to like kick your own ass. And as you said, it's such an critical thing to like growing a Twitch stream. It's definitely like, it comes easy for some. For me, it came with a lot of struggle, but I'm getting better at it, and now I'm sort of cracking down on it. But it's a very interesting one to bring up, because I feel like it helps. It definitely does help a lot.
Yeah, and that's like when I usually stream. It's usually quite late for us. Somewhere between like 10 at midnight, and I tend to get a lot of viewers from like the UK and the US. I'd be lucky because it's usually like quite early in the morning, but people might come in like before work or even while they're at work and stuff if they live over in the US. But a lot of the viewers I tend to get in are like European viewers, just because of the time difference. Like it's really convenient for them because it's like the middle of the day and stuff.
Yeah, I've found that as well, and it's weird. I get a lot of Australian viewers, and they sort of hang out from like 7 till 10, and then I get like a couple of Europeans and like 1, 2, 3 Americans, and then the later I'll stream. If I were to stream till 2 a.m. right now, I only do 3 hours a night. I'd get Americans coming in then, because I think I don't know which one it is, the East Coast or the West Coast, streaming, like the time right now for them would be like 3:45 in the morning. But for the other coast, it's like 7 a.m. or 9 a.m. or whatever it is. So
yeah,
it's interesting who comes in. If you had to give it to the Europeans or the Americans for being solid blokes and the coolest dudes, who would you give it to?
It's hard to say, really. I've had a fair share of decent blokes from for me of the region.
Me too.
Nicest stage. Oh, you got the Jets.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, no, it's a bit of a tough one because yeah, like you do get some cool, like really cool people come in, and then you know you say, oh, where you from, and then you go, oh, US or UK or you know Germany or things like that, and they're all just like real cool.
Yeah, I think that the Americans are a lot more, tend to be, not always, like, of course, people are people, but I find, to categorize, Americans tend to be a lot more, like, serious, I guess, and talk about real life issues. And then Europeans kind of like to joke around and have a lot of fun. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, like a lot of them can be like real game based, like in terms of their stream and stuff. Like they want the key point to be the gameplay, whereas you get some people who will have the key point be their interaction with the chat and maybe their personality and things like that. And that's what I personally want to try and aim for, because that means I can pretty much play whatever on the stream and people coming in for me, and that's personally what I find more appealing.
Yeah, I tend to go for a 80% personality, 20% game these days. I'm gonna keep that ratio. Because that's
Yeah.
what it's about. Like, that's what people come into Twitch to fucking see. If they want to see someone who's a pro gamer, they're not gonna watch me. So they obviously come in for the personality, but of course the gameplay is still part of it. That 20%.
Yeah, like it's something to watch in the background as well, and like they might be paying attention to it, they might not be, but yeah, I'm happy either way. Like I'll play the most ridiculous game on earth on stream if it means talking to people. I mean, it gives them something to laugh at as well.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, you have a similar story to me, because it's like I see this often and I see people talk about this often, but my opinion, I feel, syncs well with yours, is that when you start streaming, you don't want to stream like a really popular game. You want to stream like a game that has like barely any broadcasters but lots of viewers. So for instance, like I picked Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, not as a plan, but as like something that just kind of happened, and that's what really launched my channel. You've got your Resident Evil, and I feel like that's like a really important thing for people to really like knuckle down on, is you want to be streaming like a smaller game, even though you might want to play like some CS or some League or whatever it is, just start small and work your way up.
And that's the thing too, is like if you're going to be playing a newer game, you can almost be guaranteed that hundreds of other broadcasters, including like bigger broadcasters that are partnered and get like hundreds or thousands of viewers at a time, are going to be playing it as well. So it sort of decreases your chances of your stream being found, unless you get someone who's like, oh, I kind of just want to hang out in a smaller stream or in a quieter stream.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you're still getting your bearing as a streamer. So if you're starting brand new, fresh, if you go into the Counter-Strike market, you're going to get crushed because the competition is just too crazy. So if you go and do a smaller game, it's like you can have some viewers in order to develop like yourself as a streamer, whether it be like the way you talk, expressing your personality, etc., etc. I think that's the best way of doing it. And I don't believe streaming a big game is at all beneficial, but I hear a lot of people say, yeah, stream a popular game because that's where all the viewers are, but I disagree with that.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, some people do get their opportunity, and they might have a few people come in streaming a big game, and it's a possibility, but it's not the most likely thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So what was let's do some deep stuff. Let's move away from Twitch. I'm always interested to hear about people's like life story, especially when they're young, and what sort of things what sort of dots they've connected later on in life. So how did you feel like growing up? What was like your childhood like?
It wasn't bad, but I wouldn't say it was like terrible. Like it was kind of tough. I mean, strict parents and whatnot. Like they were laid back mostly, but they were very protective. I'd say like they weren't, like no, you can't do anything. They were just very protective and very cautious, and I guess that's a good thing because it shows they cared. They didn't want me doing anything stupid or hurting myself, and that was something I took like to me, and like now, like it's life lessons and stuff like that. And I was never a really serious person growing up. and I still am not now, but I know my times when it's necessary to be serious and
Yeah.
whatnot. But I've always been the type to have a bit of a joke around, and I was always a bit of a rough nut as a kid. I was always mucking around with people, and I'm the type of kid that was like, there'd be like a group of us just sitting there still doing nothing, and I'd just start hitting people on the leg or something for the sake of it. Like just that sort of kid.
Well, you were mentioning earlier, like it sounds like your parents were definitely trying to install like some foundations, for you at a young age in order to so that when you grow up, you have like good morals and good values and do the right things and stuff. But not all kids are receptive to that, and I've found myself to be one of those people. And so I always ask people, and I'll ask you this question: what would you consider to be better now, and what did you consider to be better when you were younger? And the question is, would you rather spend the best years of your life when you're young, enjoying it and having a lot of fun, or would you rather invest in your future? For example, lots of hard study, lots of doing well at school, making sure like you never get in trouble and stuff like that, and that investment from your childhood, which means that you're not going to have the same enjoyment as fun as someone who chooses the first option. Which one do you think, looking back now, you wish you had done, and what did you choose when you were younger?
I chose when I was younger to enjoy what I had, because I was never the type of person to sort of think too far ahead. I was always, this is pretty fun. There may be some sort of consequences, but I'll deal with it as it comes. And now looking back at it, it's a bit hard to say, because it's hard to find a medium. Like, you see a lot of kids these days, they're either, strict into their school and they don't really get out too much, or they're the opposite. They get out quite a bit and they just, don't care too much for school.
Yeah, it's interesting because I look back and I'm like, because I was the same, man. I had really strict parents, and they were always like very critical of what I did and how I spent my time and what I was doing with my life, and etc etc. Another plane's going overhead, but I'm gonna keep talking. Um, and so looking back, I'm like, damn, like I would have, if I had invested in the future when I was at a young age, like I'm talking between 5 and 18, instead of just like fucking around. I feel like I had too much fun, so that might have been the problem. But I feel like I would be in a completely different position than I'm at now, and I'm not regretful of the decision to have fun, but I look at it now and I'm like, all right, I'm 25. How old are you, Josh?
I'm 23.
Yeah, I'm 24. I'm turning 25 in March, so in like a week or two. But I'm starting to realize that now the fun kinda is starting to slow down, and I need to really invest in the future because I've got so much catching up to do in terms of my peers and in terms of like what I want to accomplish now. Like I'm really knuckling down and starting to get serious.
Yeah. Well, the thing is too is like, because I had quite a bit of fun like growing up and stuff. I use that now as like more of a motivation, because I've gotten that stuff out of my system. I still procrastinate here and there, but you get that sort of shit out of your system, and then what you found fun years ago isn't really too appealing anymore.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you gotta find like a more different way, I guess, to have fun, in a way that you've got to organize your time now as an adult. You've got
Yeah.
things to do and things like so it's just like a time and place thing, and I use that as a motivation, like looking back, and when I had too much fun and didn't care too much about school, I use that as a motivation now, because there's always time to do something with yourself.
Well,
And so like I use that now to be like, I've had my fun, now it's time to organize myself, like for the present and for my future.
yeah, I've had my fun too, I think that um the experience that I got out of having fun has been very valuable, and I feel will serve me well in life. Like I look back and think I have 25 nearly 25 years of experience on this earth, and I've done something like when I was younger and I got so much out of it, and not they weren't positive results for my life, they were just positive experiences that helped me grow and learn and interpret things later in life. If I ever had like a kid and I wanted to do the same thing, like install really good foundations and really good morals, I would understand better coming from where I'm at and my childhood if they just wanted to have more fun than a structured regimental sort of childhood where you work your ass off and you get a head start in life, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I was going to say.
But
Yeah, I was going back to what you said about you had some experiences that weren't quite positive experiences, but you learned from it, and that's a key thing is that you learn from it, because some people will sit there and they'll do certain things that they might feel like they regret, but like they're only regretting it because they're not learning from it as well.
yeah. Well, some people lack that introspection. I believe that you've got it, Josh. You think about things very deeply and very objectively, and I think a lot of people aren't like that, man. So they get to the stage like in life where we're at, and we're kind of like we can look back and interpret that stuff and use it positively, but I know that there's a lot of people that just don't possess that personality trait, and so they go on through life just trying to have fun and living sort of paycheck to paycheck, just partying or whatever it is. I think we're in a pretty good position now, even though we're both still quite young, to sort of interpret that and use it in the future.
Yeah, and I think that's the best time to learn it is when you're young as well.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, so you said you were a bit of like what was it, a ragamuffin or something?
Rough nut.
Yeah, rough nut. That's it.
Oh no, I've got the planes coming over.
Oh, you've got one.
Must have just come from down there, eh?
Wait, do you have airplanes going over your house there?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So I don't know. I didn't know that happened there. I
It,
thought I was the only one.
It happens every so often. It usually happens more in the morning, so.
Ah, okay. You got airport? Is it the Townsville airport nearby or?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the Coolangatta airport, like a couple of k's south. But yeah, so you're a bit of a wild child. When did you sort of start taking steps into the future, like doing this? I know that you've done like you're working at Pizza Hut for a while, and then you wanted to get like some retail certificates, and then you did the certificates for IT, and now the diploma, which is all really exciting, progressive stuff that I really like. I'm proud of you, man. What was the turning point for you, do you reckon, to getting all that stuff done?
It was after I left school. Like I wasn't really like I was at Pizza Hut, and they'd given me more hours and stuff, but I was just like, this isn't going to be enough to, get me through life. I need to do something a bit more with myself, and I guess more of it came out of boredom as well, because I wasn't really doing much, and I was just like, I need something to do in my life, even if it's productive. And that was when I started paying more attention to wanting to do productive stuff, studying and things like that.
Do you think
that was around when I was about 17, 18, I started to make more decisions to want to do something more with myself.
Yeah. Do you think that's just time? Like when you don't find the same things fun anymore, the same hobbies aren't fun anymore, and you just all of a sudden it just feels like out of nowhere time just slaps you and you're like, fuck, I'm nearly like an adult or whatever, or I am an adult. I need to start working my ass off to get somewhere,
Yeah, that's what it was for me, and it was just more or less I need something to do during the day, and then I can just do whatever at night, have a bit of fun at night, play games or whatever at night, but I need something to do during the day.
Would you say that you weren't satisfied?
With
like before you started taking steps to do stuff during the day, was it like you just weren't satisfied with what you were doing? Like I know you say you were bored, but was it like a feeling of boredom, or was it like boredom and lack of satisfaction?
a bit of both, really. Like I was bored during the day, just wasn't really doing much, but I was more dissatisfied with myself as well, and I think that was it, because I just gave myself a kick in the ass and said I needed to start doing something with myself.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool, man. That's cool. I think we should definitely just stay in touch in the future, man, because I'm very interested to see like whereabouts you head in terms of all this game design stuff. And even if it's not that, you know, like I reckon you're just such an honest, fucking awesome dude, man. I've always thought that about you. I just love you, man. You're fucking brother.
Cheers, man.
So no long-term goals with the game design stuff. If you could have like a perfect life in the future, what would that look like?
Something simple, really. Just finally moved out of home. Maybe have a missus. Probably, I'd like to still be in Townsville, just because I got friends and family here. But I'd like to be able to travel as well. And if I find somewhere else that I might say feel more comfortable to live, it might be worth it, because at the moment the unemployment here is just terrible. Like, it's not good, and it's not going to get much better, I've been told. So
Yeah, is that just due to the population rising and the expansion of business lowering, or?
I'd say so, yeah. Like, I can't really pinpoint it to anything else.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Because
so
yeah. Sorry, I was just going to say that, like, there are a lot of people like me that want to be out there doing something with themselves, and there's a lot of people that aren't. But like, the amount of people that I've spoken to that are in the same shoes as me, that that have goals and they want to be doing something, and want to be working and things like that, is just incredible. And it sort of shows as well the situation when it comes to employment here, because these people might have all the qualifications in the world for a particular avenue, like a particular work rate, and they just can't do it because people aren't hiring.
Yeah, I found that firsthand. Shepparton, where I grew up at, was always like the unemployment levels were quite high, and I never really recognized it for what it was until Nicole moved down and we were living together in Shep. And she is like very highly qualified in retail. Lots of experience, manager experience. She's gone to uni. She's got like all of this, a background that would suggest that she's a very highly effective and hard worker for a company. References to boot. And she was there for like 3 months, couldn't find a job, couldn't even get a job at like Coles or anything like that. Like, not even like just entry level, like going to Macca's and getting a job, because they just said like you're overqualified. And it's like they kind of, I felt like they just wanted some dummy to work the job, and they didn't want like a good, hard, productive worker. And that was kind of when I was like, wow, like the unemployment thing is a big issue, because if people are that qualified and not getting jobs, that's fucking bullshit.
It comes down to money as well. Like, businesses are trying to save money by hiring people who what they perceive to be not worth as much, and like especially like entry level jobs, like Coles and things like that. They're looking more for like teenagers and stuff like that, because the pay rate isn't nearly as much as someone who's got all these qualifications and whatnot, and someone who's got a bit of age behind them as well.
Yeah. Well, she was gonna be like a manager of a deli in Coles, and she was gonna get a job at Flight Center, but the whole process was completely fucked, because they would like say, all right, we're interested in you, get the interview, have a phone interview, then go somewhere, have like a physical interview, then go to Melbourne and have another interview. And it was like the whole process took like 2.5 months. And she moved back to the Gold Coast, and then they started offering her positions. And that was, as I said, that at that point, it's like 4 months after she'd applied, she'd already moved back because, no work for her there. And yeah, I just, like, that blows my mind. I know if I had a business, regardless of, like, I could pay someone that's highly qualified $20 an hour to work for me, or I could employ someone that's not highly qualified for $20 an hour to work for me, and I know I'd pick the first one. And as you said, it's all about like teenagers and the casual rates, and it's like you can pay a kid like $15 to do the job, and it saves money and stuff. It's just, it really ruins the growth of a small to medium sized town, man.
Yeah, exactly. And like, don't get me wrong, like, it does good for these kids, because they get an experience that they could take with them and whatnot. But that it's where it becomes an issue in some places because they don't want people with experience, or they don't want people with too much experience.
Because they might take their jobs. Like the person hiring these people, they don't want someone that's highly like more qualified than they are, and they're in like a manager hiring role. Like that person's gonna take your fucking job, so you're not gonna get them in for an interview, and there's a problem right there. And so there is barely many people my age. Like there's people, but barely many people my age still in Shepparton because either people go off to university, there's not much opportunity for jobs there, and the jobs that are there aren't like good jobs that have growth in the future or promotions or any sort of stuff like that. And so you get these towns like Shepparton, people come, they have a family, kids, the rent's cheap and whatever, and then the kids grow up, and then after they finish school, that's when they all leave, and the process sort of continues like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit ridiculous at the moment. I mean, we'll prevail in the end, but it's just not optimal here, and it's probably like that in a lot of places as well. But I've been told that we have the highest unemployment rate in Queensland up here, so it might be worth finding another place to live at some point in time.
Yeah, yeah, but as you said, like it's hard because it's like you got your family and your friends there. That's what I found, moving
Yeah,
away. It's like you have to lose something to gain something, and you got to sort of weigh that option up.
yeah, exactly. I mean, like, I'd be happy to do it. It wouldn't be something that I'd be entirely happy with, but if it meant setting myself up for my future and everything, I'd be happy to do it.
Yeah, yeah. I think the people that are left in Shepparton are usually like tradies and people that are fine with working a retail job with no future like growth opportunity and stuff. And I mean, that's cool if that's what makes you happy, but at the end of the day, like I come to like if I were to live in Melbourne and was born in Melbourne, I could there's so many fucking jobs, like it's crazy. But then do you move away? That's a hard one, man. That's a hard decision. I know I've only just moved away from Shepparton 7 months ago after living there most of my whole life, and it still sucks. I still miss my family and friends and stuff. Like I'm so far away from everyone, and it's really hard to make friends in a new place.
Yeah, exactly. And like, optimal thing for me would be to be able to eventually get my family wherever I move or whatever. But it's not something that's guaranteed. Like especially with like mum and dad and stuff. Like not only because they're separated, but because they're quite set in their ways and they're quite comfortable here.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, that's even the place we're renting now. It's like I want to find a place with NBN because my internet bill is insane. But already kind of set in our ways here. Like it's a big hassle to move because you got to invest time, energy, money, like bonds, and then move everything. It's like to move somewhere where you already live in the same town is a hassle, man.
Yeah, it's
Sucks.
crazy.
Yeah. So what are any other news you've been up to lately?
Um, Not really. No, as I mentioned before, like with the course and stuff, I'm a bit behind on it, and that's just laziness, I guess. Like, because I pretty much started that. Like, I was already enrolled in it when I finished TAFE,
Hmm.
but by the time I'd finished the Cert 4, I just wasn't really in the mood to want to do anything. I just wanted to relax, and that's something that I've carried on for last 2 months or so, and it's something I'm trying to break out of because it's affected, like me going to gym and stuff like that as well.
So do you go to TAFE at a campus or is it online?
I was going at a campus, yeah, but this other course that I'm doing is through a different place, so they do it online.
Okay, and I mean that's where it gets tough, man, because I've done online courses and it's you really gotta like it's so much easier to go to a campus in terms of motivation than it is to have whatever time you want to study. Like you could study in the morning or night, and that's awesome. But you also got to have the discipline, and
Yeah,
I've struggled with that with online courses for sure.
like they've got a campus here, but like the people who are at the campus aren't like dedicated to like one particular course,
Hmm.
sort of thing. And like the course that I'm doing now, like they've added me to this like big Skype group and stuff where there's other people doing the same course, and there's like the teacher and stuff, and it's good, but at the same time, it as you said, you need that discipline, and I think like I personally need that discipline because I had to go to the campus to like when I was at TAFE to do this course, and I had a person physically there who was able to help me and whatnot. And
Yeah.
I just needed that push, that motivation to get me out of bed to go to TAFE because I know it was something that needed to be done.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. Like when I was doing community services on a campus, I got my certificate in community service work, and it was interesting. It definitely like taught me a lot of stuff, but it's good, yeah, just having a teacher there, because if you ever get stuck and you're on an online course, your options are either to Google it or use some sort of university like help system. And what's the guarantee that you're going to talk to the guy straight away that is in charge and knows what he's doing with the thing that you're stuck with? That's sometimes like a struggle. So being in a classroom helps, but yeah, I guess they both have their perks and advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah. I mean, I personally felt more comfortable being at TAFE,
Yeah.
like around other students as well, because we were able to feed off each other and help each other. But it was something that, like, while I can talk to people, I'm not the most socially comfortable person, and so that was something that brought me out of my comfort zone, being around people that I didn't know and things like that.
Yeah, I found the exact same thing, man, because I was just it would have been nearly 4 years ago now. I just stopped like doing drugs and all that sort of stuff and was starting to pick up the pieces, and I was the same, man. It was like I didn't know anybody going into that class, and I got to be social, and even the social aspect kind of gave me a good feeling when I got home, you know.
Yeah, but like with me as well is like I'm sort of borderline on the way that like I like to do my own thing and I'm not trying to impress anyone, but at the same time I don't want to make myself look like an idiot.
Yeah.
And being at TAFE, for like the first few months where I didn't really know many people or any people there, it was something that I wanted to do something for myself so I didn't look like an idiot around these people. And
Yeah.
that was my push, was to not make myself look like an idiot. Whereas when you're studying at home, you don't really have that. You just you're comfortable in your own home. You can do it at your own pace, and I like being able to do things at my own pace, but it's not optimal in terms of getting stuff done.
Yeah, I had the same thing, man, because as I said, there's nobody that you know. You go into a classroom similar to like most places where you go and study, and I hadn't been back at school for a while, and there was all sorts of ages. That was the big difference, because you go to TAFE, there's like 50-year-old dudes, there's people that are 18, and everyone's sort of just like, I mean, socially like, yo, you cool? Yeah, I'm cool. Like, and it hangs out and maybe have chats here and there, but I like to do my own thing too, man. And if I just feel like some alone time, which a lot of the time I do, I'm a very like, I don't know, like I enjoy my own company, and like at lunchtime or whatever, it's like I can either be that fucking guy who walks off and like goes to the library to just chill, or I can be like that nice guy who hangs out and has a conversation, has fun, and integrates with everyone. And it's kind of hard to like, as you said, like balance it or like motivate yourself to kind of integrate more. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, like with me, it was like, I went into the class and, you just sort of sit next to someone and eventually you start to get to know them, start to talk to them a little bit. And then it became a thing where, it was like, oh, I recognize them from my class. I'll just go sit with them, sort of thing.
Yep.
And then, they'd be talking amongst themselves, and you know what I'm like. If I've got something to say, I'll say it. And, they'd be having a conversation about whatever. And, if I had something to commit to the conversation, then I'd come out with it. And, not like an aggressive way, but like in a way that, I'm getting involved in the conversation. And yeah, that's pretty much how it went for me in terms of making friends. And then like a few of the guys that I did the Cert 3 with, we did the Cert 4 together because there was like 20 or so of us in the class doing the Cert 3. And then come to Cert 4, there was like 4 of us. Well, there was 6 in the class in total. A few of them were only doing like a few units here and there, so they'd only show up on certain days, and then they eventually just stopped showing up. And one other guy who did the Cert 3 with us, he stopped showing up altogether because he preferred to go home and play video games and not do anything with himself, which is, it's sort of sad. I mean, he paid the money to do the course and he just sort of wasted it.
Yeah.
But then there was like, in the end, there was like 3 of us who were like there pretty much every day, just hammering it out. And they were like the other 2 guys that I did it with were the guys I became really good friends with, and I still talk to a couple of them as well.
Are they all around your age group?
Yeah, they're only like a couple of years younger, and that was the cool thing as well. Is like in the Cert 3 class, like, and even in the Cert 4 class, because it was pretty much like kids from the Cert 3 class, we were all around roughly the same age, between like 18 and say 22, 23.
Well, I found the coolest part. I'm a little bit different in that part. Hanging out with the older dudes. Like I get along really good with like country folk and people who have farms and stuff. So there was this one guy, Kelvin, and he'd come to Australia from New Zealand, and he'd been farming here for like 30, 40 years, and probably a bit less, maybe 20 to 30. And he wanted to switch up his career. And I love hanging out with older dudes, man, because it's like they have so much to like. I get a better feeling when I get along with someone who's older, because I feel like, it sounds fucked up, but I have like some sort of approval because they're so much older and wiser and have so much more experience that they find me cool. I don't know if that's like fucked up or not, but I definitely.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
Yeah, it's weird,
That's like what we were like with Primed as well.
Like, yeah, exactly.
He's a bit older than us, and getting along with him and stuff, and like even just like hearing his experiences and stuff, and you keep that in mind and you take that with you as well, and yeah.
Aspiration. The reason the camera flickers is like because my screens and my monitors are 144 hertz. There's no webcam that'll use anti-flicker technology past 60 hertz, I believe. So that's why it flickers. There's nothing I can really do about it. But yeah, exactly. So the thing with Primed is like, yeah, it was like, here's a dude who's lived fucking life. He's a cool dude. I like this dude, and he's so much wiser and smarter and has so much more experiences. And then you get on well with him, and you're hanging out, and it's just like such a unique feeling where it's really rewarding and kind of like a pat on the back, like you're doing the right thing or something. I don't know. It's cool.
Yeah, and like especially when you're talking to them about stuff, and you might bring up a certain point, and then they go, yeah, I agree with you. Like that's. You feel a bit better about yourself that, even though everyone's got their own individual opinions, but like, there's a lot of things that, are pretty much set in stone. And, when you're talking about certain things and, you might say something that everyone agrees with sort of thing, like especially the older guys, it's the best feeling as well.
Yeah, they also bring like a unique opinion to the table, because whenever I have a problem or something that like I'm talking about, they always have such a different response than people that are our age, or a different approach to a problem, or just a different opinion. I like that part. That part's cool.
Yeah. And like one thing I've noticed about like older guys as well is, they're at the point where, to an extent, they just don't give a fuck. So they're a bit more upfront, like more upfront than what I am, mind you. And that's good as well, because sometimes you just need that brutal honesty. Like you don't need someone to reassure you, but you need someone to lead you in the right direction. Yeah,
they definitely seem to be a lot better at that, because when you're friends with people in our age group, it's so common. I'm not saying this in reference to anyone in particular, but just as a whole, if you want an honest opinion about something, it can be very tough to get it from people that because they're like, what do you think of my shirt? And they're like, that shirt's baller, that's a cool shirt. But then like, is that what they really think? I don't know. Like they're like my friend. They want good vibes and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
one thing I've noticed as well though is like, when it comes to say you're talking to someone your age or around the same age as you, and they might be brutally honest with you for whatever reason. I've noticed it, like I've done it myself personally, but like at other people, they find the need to get a bit more defensive with people around their own age, as opposed to with like older people who, they might say the same thing, but you sort of you think about it and they go, oh, they don't mean anything bad by it. Whereas like when it comes to, younger people, they feel like, maybe this person's just been a bit of a dick.
Well, they've got a completely different reference frame, because if they criticize something that you do or give you an opinion and you don't like it, as an older person, you can just say, yeah, I remember what I was like when I was a kid. I thought I had it all figured out, or like, what the fuck do I care? It's just some fucking kid, you know? But when it's like someone in our age group, or when we're friends, it's like, nah, like, I really care, like, what my friends sort of think, or I really like you know what I mean? Like if it is an adult, they don't give a fuck, man. They'll tell you how it is, because I mean that's like the most honest form of like a friendship, you know, like when that happens.
Yeah. And like going back to something that you've just said there, what you said, something like you care a lot about what your friends think, like, and like it's more of a personal thing for me, because it was like me developing as a person, and I gotten to the point where I was caring too much about what my friends thought. And you get those certain friends that are going, oh yeah, you're doing this and that, and I don't like it. And it's like I got to the point where I started cutting ties with those who were doing that, like not the closer friends, but that just friends, I guess, that wanted to sit there and just criticize everything that I was doing, because I was just feeling like I was bothering a lot of people, even though I might not have been doing the wrong thing. I was too worried about, oh, am I going to piss this person off, or an individual person as opposed to other people.
Yeah.
And so I started getting to the point where, I'm still at the point now where I keep around those who will be my friend regardless. Like if I'm doing something that's bad, they're not going to sit there and criticize, but like in a way that, how can I put this? I know what I want to say, but I can't express it. But like you get those friends that are just just chill and do your own thing, sort of thing, and
yeah,
those are the people that I sort of keep around, as opposed to someone who's going to sit there and be like, oh yeah, I don't like the way you've changed, because like they won't say it, but because you're not the same person that I like. And it's like, well, I'm being me now. I'm not being a person for anybody else but myself.
it's maturity, man. Maturity changes everything, and as soon as people realize that there's a huge benefit to cutting off people in your life that are either like negative or critical, or that just don't have any positive like input or make your life better, and you start removing and weeding out those people, the benefits are immense, man. Like you can totally change things for you. And I think that's underestimated by society, is like your environment impacts you a lot. And if you're here's a great scientific example. You're scientifically more likely to be obese if you live and associate with people who are obese, meaning that you see people around you and like, you see that that's okay, and like, oh, like this is pretty normal or whatever.
This is what is accepted between that group of people.
Yeah. And so if you want to be, for example, successful, you want to associate with people who are successful so that they can motivate you. And oh fuck, wait, there we go. Yeah, I was gonna say, if you want to be successful, you surround yourself with successful people, and they'll motivate you, and you can no longer see yourself as not doing like enough. Or if you want to have more happiness, you surround yourself with more happy people. And I think that's a big deal. And for example, to not tell people about that, or to teach it in school, or for parents not to teach kids about that, I think that's a huge mistake, because you can really like turn around certain aspects and traits in your life just by fixing what's around you. And so eliminating critical friends that are going to like basically tell you, nah, change, I don't like this, go back to how you were. Fuck those guys, man.
Yeah. And like with me personally, it was something that, like, because I was being critical about how what I was doing was going to be annoying people or upsetting people. It was making me too critical of myself, and I was, I guess, being worried about every little thing I did was just not a good thing. And that's when I just decided, fuck this, I'm going to start doing things for myself and if people don't like it, then so be it. Like, I don't need that sort of negative reinforcement.
Yeah, I think I'm starting to do that. I don't think I'm 100% there, but I'm definitely on the road to the whole not investing any sort of emotional attachment to what other people think or say, and that can be a really hard thing to do. I feel like it's some for more than for others, but um yeah, I think it's in the post, man. It's coming, you know.
Yeah, like I'm, I talk to a lot of people and stuff like that, and I might not always like everything that a particular person does, but I'm not gonna dislike them for it. I'm not gonna,
Yeah,
sit there and criticize them for it and not want to be their friend for it. Like, I might just sort of I might mention something about it, but I'm not saying it in a way that's like, oh yeah, no, you're a shitty person, change that. It's just me making an observation, and I tend to do that a lot. Like, I'm very observant, and I'm very vocal about my observations as well.
yeah, exactly, man. Like, yeah, no, I completely agree with that, man. I completely agree with it. So like here's a scenario. Like, if I I'd like to get your opinion on this. So you're my friend, right?
Mhm.
And like, I think you're a legend. I appreciate you. You've been there for me in times of like need and whatever. And like, I know, not that this happens a lot, but if I really needed someone to talk to, and like life was throwing shit at me, like I could hit you up or call you and you'd be there for me 100%.
Yeah.
So I also think that you're an awesome bloke, but at the same time, here's me saying like I want you to like me, dude. You know what I mean? Like that's like an emotional, like it's just a part of me that's like, I want this person to like me because I like them so much. And is that, I don't know if that's something that everyone does or not. What do you think about that?
I know a lot of people tend to do stuff like that. Like, they want, like what you just said, they want certain people to like them because they like the other person, sort of thing.
Mm.
But like, the way I see it nowadays is, if a person's going to like you, then then they
Mm.
do like you. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, like, you shouldn't have to be forced to like someone, and
Yep.
that's what it's like, in friendships and relationships and things like that. Like, if you have to, I guess, force something to try and make it work, then there's a chance that it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Like,
So
you can
basics.
you can come to a resolution to make things work, but you shouldn't have to force things to work.
Yeah, so basically you put yourself out there and whoever kind of likes it. Like, I put myself out there in this conversation, and whether or not you like it or not, that's entirely up to you. And I shouldn't really be focusing on you liking me, for instance. And it's just about, here we are
Yeah,
having a conversation. Fuck yeah.
yeah. Just focus more on like the positive people who want, who accept that. If
Yeah.
people don't like that, that's fine. That's their opinion. You don't really have to. You don't have to keep that sort of people around.
Yeah.
Whereas, if people like you, then great.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's more about accepting either outcome and being happy with, the people that you do meet that do like you for being you.
Well, one of the important things that I think everyone should work on is compassion, man. Like, even people that I don't like, I can still be nice and friendly towards. You know what I mean? Like, if some fuckhead comes into my chat or whatever, and like, I can still like that person. It doesn't mean that I'd hang out with them, or it doesn't mean that whatever. Like, I can still be nice to them, and I think that is like the single most important thing if you want to change society in a better way. Just more compassion, because you go on the internet and people don't have their names or addresses or anything attached to, say, like on Twitch, but they kind of use that as a way to be a fucking asshole sometimes, or a way to be a scumbag and like make fun of people and stuff. So I think just being compassionate is super important.
Yeah. I mean, like, you can tolerate that sort of stuff from people, but if it gets too much, then, you don't. really want to be keeping that around, because compassion can be good, because these people might realize, oh hey, like say someone comes into your chat who's been an absolute fuckhead, and you're compassionate with them, they might sort of realize, hey, this guy's not too bad, and then they might stop being a fuckhead towards you and they might hang around. But if you're trying to get along with them and they just don't want anything to do with it, then that's when you draw the line and say, I don't need to put up with this.
Yeah, Docker writes in chat and he goes, that's the thing, man. So much easier to be rude to a person than to be nice to someone. Because sometimes being compassionate and nice is such a chore. Like when someone's ripping you a new asshole, lubing it up and slipping it in, like it's so hard to just go, like be cool to that person, I think that's a good point.
Yeah, and I think that's just normal human nature, really.
Yeah.
Like I've always been the type of person, treat people how you want to be treated.
Yeah.
But for the sake of keeping the peace, in most situations, I'll try not to antagonize it any further. But if it does get too much, obviously I'm going to get annoyed and I'm going to start speaking my mind a bit clearer to them so they get the point. But it's worth trying to be nice at first to not antagonize the situation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of just like a defense mechanism as well. I see it all throughout my life where if you have a crack at someone, you're never going to be able to have an intelligent conversation with them at that point, because it's like, if you were to say to me, Lemmy, your fucking short beard sucks, grow the old one. And I'm like, I would just start instantly. Most people, including me, would just get defensive. It's like, nah, like I see what you mean, but I can't do that, blah blah blah. And you kind of on the back foot a little bit, and you're like, I'm trying to be nice to you, but and then of course if they're flat out rude and someone in chat's like, Lemmy, you're a fucking idiot. I'm like, fuck you. I don't fucking care what you think. What the fuck? Get the fuck out of here. Like, so I mean. It's like being rude to someone and being defensive like that is so easy.
Yeah.
Persona user says it's worth a try, but not making it worse is hard enough in itself. Sup, bud? Yo, what up, dude? Exactly, man. I feel like it's so true in relationships, man, where it's like there's a lot of problems that come up, whether they're big or small, but a lot of the time it kind of comes across as either blamey or you're not good enough or whatever it is, when it could be about something as simple as, hey, chip in to do some of the chores. It's like, well, I shouldn't have to do the chores because I do this, and then it just spirals out of control. So yeah, Aaron did indeed right, Persona. It's something. It is a very hard thing. I think once you practice it, though, I think it would become easier to not make it worse by like defending yourself or being argumentative or so have you.
Like I'm the type of person who, if a situation is bad, even in the slightest, I don't like to make it worse than it needs to be. And so, I'm the type of person where if there's a situation happening that needs something to be done about, I just like to hit it head first, get it done, get it resolved, get it out of the way, move on with my life.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. It's really hard though sometimes to reconcile with people just due to like timing conflicts or like busy schedules and stuff, and that's what really like bugs me, because it's like I have people that I want to talk to about an issue that happened that caused something to go wrong in the relationship or the friendship or whatever, but I don't have an opportunity to talk to that person. And there's only so many times that you can hit them up and be like, yo dude, do you want to talk? And then being like, no, I'm working, or no, I've got this on or that on or whatever, before you go, well, this is really fucking hard. Like it's just so much easier to just say, all right, leave it how it is. Maybe we'll talk one day.
Like to an extent, what I'm about to say might not be the most agreeable thing, but if a person cares enough as well, they'll make the time, regardless, if they're busy or not, they'll make the time.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. When people say they're busy, it just means that something else is more important. Absolutely. Yeah. They will make the time, whether it's like if I said, yo, hit you up at 6 o'clock, and they're like, no, I'm working, but I can hit you up at like 7 or whatever it is. They'll definitely make time. So I think that is indicative of how much they care as well. That's a really good point, man.
Like, because if someone just says, "Oh, I don't really have the time to," then you're just like, you sort of question it, like,
Yeah.
do you really want to work it out? Whereas, if, like, because that's just like that's pretty much a more subtle way of saying, no, I don't want to talk to you. Whereas, if a person says, oh, I can't at the moment, but, give me about half an hour and I'll be able to do something, even if they are actually busy, you know what I mean? Like, they'll still give you the chance to chat if they care enough.
Yeah, it's so true about so many things. I just, and it's a kind of a sucky feeling when someone says, oh, I'm too busy, or like uses an excuse like that, because that fucking sucks, man. Because it's like, oh shit, they don't value this shit. Like, I'm going out of my way to make this shit happen, and it's almost like some sort of social rejection. Like, yeah, I want to patch things up, but it's not important to me as A, B, and C. Fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Sucks. And like, I've been on both ends of it, man. I've definitely been on both ends of it, and I can tell you what, like, even the times where when I've said I'm too busy to do something, I still feel bad. Like, I still feel like, fuck, I need to step up, you know? Not as bad as when someone says they're too busy for me, though, you know?
With me, I'm the type of person where, say there is an issue that needs to be resolved between myself and another person. I'll give them the time to speak and, hope that they give me the time to speak as well. And if we can't come to an agreeable conclusion, then, that pretty much sets my reaction from there. Like, if we can't come to something that we can both agree on, or, you know what I mean, or that even I can agree on, or that they can agree on, then it's just not going to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And that's when you draw the line, and you might not particularly want to, but you might have to burn a bridge.
Yeah, well, Persona says, I feel ya. Someone declining a request like that just makes you feel bad. For that reason exactly, they're putting you in second place. Leroy says, I don't mind if people are busy or have better things to do, but it shouldn't be an excuse to leave your problems for what is. To a certain degree, they should be able to do that. And I think that's true. I'm going to take a piss here in a moment, Josh. I'll be like 1 minute, so feel free to give a long answer to this. But you're exactly right. I mean, I feel at the very least an effort should be made if it's that important to you to reschedule to another time. Like, say, hey, I can't do it tonight, but I can do it tomorrow at this time. Meet you there. Is that cool with you? Yeah, cool, and get it done. When someone flat out just says, no, I'm too busy, it sucks. You'll be right back, man. Feel free to talk for a little bit. I'll be quick.
I'm gonna go grab a drink. Actually, it won't be long.
All right, no worries. We'll be right back, stream. I'm just gonna take a piss. We're gonna wrap up the interview shortly, maybe get into some CS, do the Overwatch giveaways. So I'll be back very, very soon. I'm gonna run to the toilet. I'll probably be like 30 seconds. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, no problems, lat. Cool. It was a pee break all around for chat and for me and Josh. Are you back yet, Josh? He's not back yet. Especially if it's an important friend, also can relate. Yeah, dog. I mean, that's a tough thing. And when we talk about these things, we know exactly what we're talking about and what situation it is. I think it's very, very blatantly obvious, but as Josh highlighted earlier, it's like sometimes you just got to cut ties, man, and it might suck, but like there's no point investing time where the other person doesn't really consider it to be valuable time, Hey, Josh, you back yet? He's not back yet. I think I can hear him. The man, the myth, the legend. I hear that. I hear that glass of water.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Wait for it. There we go.
Oh, what is that? That sounds delicious.
It's a can of Pepsi.
Ooh, so you're a Pepsi man.
I'm a bit of both. It was whatever's on special.
Yeah.
What's hard ask?
Yeah, that was the longest piss of my life too, lat. Everyone in chat went to take a piss and get drinks and stuff, so it was a good break all around. So chat, now is your chance to ask Joshua or Grasshopper any questions that you might have, questions that you might have, or anything that you want to comment on, and I'll pass it over and we can discuss any topics you like to discuss. It's pretty much free reign, so send it in chat, anything you want to talk about, any questions. Just reiterating myself, don't know why. Persona says my finals will be in May. Same goes for some friends of my old school I somehow still have, and some from my current school. That's an interesting thing, because when I left high school, I kept barely any friends. Like, it was weird. I had so many friends during high school, and then when high school ended, it was like I barely had any. I had maybe 6 or 7 for maybe the first year after uni, and then everyone went away and I had like 2 or 3. And then to this day, there's only like less than 5 people from high school that I still really like hang out with and chat with frequently. Have you had what's your experience with high school friends, Josh?
I haven't spoken to many of them in years, to be honest. Like, I see them here and there, and I hear from them on birthdays and stuff, and they might message me every so often. But once I left high school, that was pretty much it for me. And I think a lot of that was due to, I guess, the people I was hanging out with at school. I found that I really wasn't too fond of once I sort of had the time to sit there to myself and think, maybe these guys aren't really my friends.
Yeah,
I just sort of left it at that.
As soon as like being cool doesn't matter anymore, it means fuck all.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I found. I was like, throughout my school, I was like in different friendship groups, but towards the end, I was in like what was considered to be cool. And then after school, cool doesn't mean shit. Like,
it really shouldn't mean anything in school, and that's why you get like so many like teenagers and stuff. They're just mad at the world because they're trying to prove themselves to these people, and then in the end, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
and like that, I personally blame like the media for that as well. Like, they like, especially they focus on
stuff.
Yeah, celebrities, and look how good this person looks, and they're so attractive, and like using a recent situation as an example, the whole Lady Gaga situation where she had a bit of a stomach out and people are making fun of her for it, and it's like, who fucking cares? Like, she's human, man. Like, and like you get a lot of these people, I can guarantee you, a lot of them wake up in the morning, look at themselves in the mirror and go, oh fuck, I'm fat, I don't like myself. And then they'll come on the internet and then criticize Lady Gaga of all people.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like, the media really have a responsibility to like set standards for society, and I feel like they don't take that serious enough. But one thing I've noticed since leaving school is that the people in school that I considered not to be cool, that like didn't care what other people think, didn't attend to like the fashionable stuff, or like didn't wear like stuff that was common or whatever, I've found that those people today are the coolest fucking people ever, because they don't give a fuck about what other people think. They weren't cool in school either, but they're the coolest people, man. Now that I'm older, I meet some of those guys and I'm like, shit, man, you're fucking solid dude. Like, they're the coolest people, man. The people that were considered cool, or the friendship groups that I was in, most of those dudes aren't that cool. Like, they're not really that interesting to hang out with. They don't really have too much going on. All changes when you get older.
Yeah, and like I had an argument with this guy that went to the same school as me when I left school, because he tried to use that as a one-up, because he was just being a dick on Facebook and in a post, and I called him out on his post. And then he tried to turn it around to me, being like, oh yeah, you don't know shit, you dropped out of school, it means you're an idiot and you're not going to get anywhere in life. And it's like, well, I can guarantee you that I'll find a job that I might not make too much with, but I'll be happy with. Whereas, you're doing this because, oh, there's so much money in it, but you might not necessarily like it.
Yeah.
Whereas at the end of the day, I'm going to be the one who's happy and enjoying my life, and you're just going to be sitting there feeling sorry for yourself.
Exactly. So Lat has a question for you. He says, Grasshopper, do you feel that your Twitch channel has a good potential to grow pretty big?
I mean, there's always the chance. Like, for me, it's a consistency thing because I don't. Oh, more so lately, I've been streaming a fair bit, but I'm not too consistent with it, and so I'm not really giving. Like, it's not an intentional thing, but with me not being consistent with streams and only streaming every so often, it doesn't really give my channel the biggest chance to grow. But I reckon if I was to be consistent with it and maybe set a theme and start doing a bit more with it and start focusing on content that might be an attraction to people, then yeah, there's a potential for it.
Persona says, I feel like that's a major point for some people of losing friends. Seems to happen to a lot of people. I mean, I know it's coming. I'm kind of indifferent about it. I don't have a lot of friends, not a lot to lose, right? In regards to, I believe, coming up to finishing school. I definitely struggled with it. I'll ask for Josh's opinion in a sec. I struggled with it because I went from having heaps of plans every weekend. There was something to do, some sort of social situation to attend to, whether it was parties or going around to a mate's place or drinking or going down to the river, whatever it was. And then all of a sudden, within the space of about 12 to 24 months, the majority, like 90% of all those things were gone. And I struggled. It was like I had something and I lost it, and it was really valuable to me. And so that kind of, in a way, gave me kind of like a slight depression in a way, because I was just bummed, man. I was like, how did this happen? And then you start questioning things like, is it me or is it the situation with these people moving or whatever it is? But I definitely struggled with it. I know a lot of people didn't struggle with it. So Josh, how did you go with it?
I was still in touch with a couple of the guys that I went to school with, and I was still doing things here and there that I would have been doing while I was still in school, hanging out with them on weekends and on school holidays and things like that. But especially when they got to the final year of school and they started focusing on that a bit more, and we just didn't have the time for it. And so I still talk to them here and there, but I guess it's just one of those things that happens.
Yeah, it kind of touches on an earlier point, doesn't it? Because it's like when like the friendships kind of after school, after a while, they kind of dissipate in a way, and unless that person's really important to you, then you can't, like, it's a really tough thing to stay in touch. Like my mate moved 3.5 hours away, and now he lives probably like 16 hours away from me, probably one of my closest friends from high school, if not the closest. And it was a struggle to stay in touch with him because of like the time things, and I would call him and he was at uni or doing something, partying or whatever, so he'd call me back in a few days and I'd be busy. And it's almost like when I'm on the Gold Coast now, it's a perfect metaphor for it, because I have my own life, I have my own things that I'm doing, and I struggle, and it sounds bad, but to even talk to my parents, and it's like it's like half and half. It's a matter of how much you value and how important those things are and these people are, and the time constraints that you have, because everyone's got their own life, everyone's doing their own thing. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's like it's definitely an interesting one. I feel that if you were friends with those people in high school for more than like 5 years, I feel like it's easier when you guys do hang out and connect to have lots to talk about and have it be enjoyable and stuff. People change over time, especially after school. People change so much after school because everyone's doing their own thing now. It's not that you don't have that one thing in common that's like you're all going to school, you're all in it together. It all changes.
I think another thing as well is like with the few friends that I still have from school, like we may not talk every day or much at all, but we're in a position where we know if we were to reach out to the other person and say, hey, let's hang out, we'd make the time for it. Like I'd make the time for them, or they make the time for me, and vice versa.
Well, for me, it
And that
was like I didn't make friends after school, and everyone else did. Everyone was hanging out with new people. Everyone was going to uni and making new social circumstances. So, I mean, it was tough, man. I was like really sad about that.
Yeah.
Docker says, that's it. The high point of my social life was going to school. Now everyone just wants to go out and get pissed. And get pissed. Saving money for a big holiday, so I'm not drinking at the moment. Trying to find some friends with similar mindsets. The only thing I had in common with mates was going to the same school. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Because you go into the same school, you got shit in common. Like, hey, do you remember Mrs. Blogs? She's like that English teacher. Do you know what happened to her? Or like, yo, you know Jimmy from fucking class 2A or whatever. He did this on the weekend. Here's a video. Like you're all interconnected in a school. And the only thing that's ever going to be like that is something like university or work. And work's going to be obviously a lot smaller. So,
and I think that was the idea behind social media, but it didn't quite go that
way. It was good, man. It used to be good because it was like I didn't have to look at memes all day. When I go on Facebook, I look at memes. That's all that comes up for me. I don't see any like personal posts by people or barely ever, unless they've got like 200 likes or some crazy shit. It's not how it used to be on there.
Did you ever have Bebo?
I think I did but I was too young to really remember it.
Like Bebo was good in that. Yeah, I never had MySpace. I had Bebo, but Bebo was good in that aspect because, you know, it was a personal website about you, and you'd look at other people's personal websites about them, and you'd get to know them through that. It wasn't like a big meme fest.
Yeah. Well, it definitely got weird when they started introducing like view counts to MySpace, because then everyone was about how many views you got, like how popular are you, how many friends you got, how many comments you got, and it just became about the number. And I see that with Twitch a lot as well, but it's like, you're a really cool dude, all that stuff doesn't even matter, and that stuff will come naturally, so it's weird.
That's like that post I shared on Facebook the other day about the stick. Did you see that one?
Oh, remind me about it.
It's like, to prove that people will argue over anything, here is a stick.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
And so I was like, oh, how could someone detach this from a tree and take a picture
of
that's right. Social media likes?
Exactly, man. So Lat says, the media takes one situation and over-exaggerate it like 10 times more. A good example of that is the whole PewDiePie thing, yeah. How they take something out of context and all of a sudden PewDiePie gets his... To give a quick nutshell, I won't go too deep into it, but PewDiePie made some videos. They were not intended to be racist, but some people interpreted them as such, and it wasn't really a big deal. But then the Wall Street Journal jumped on it and started clipping over like all of his videos, clipping like stuff that had anti-Semitic or like racist parts, and then just put them all together in a video. And then his show got cancelled, heaps of shit got fucked up, and it wasn't really that big of a deal, because if you watch the videos, they may be like going a little too far in one of them, but not really a big deal. It was just a joke. It was like a comedian sort of joke.
I don't agree with everything that PewDiePie did in that video, but he's not in the wrong here, because all he was doing was proving that, you know, this website, like anyone would do anything on there for like $5 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And what the Wall Street Journal did was take those little parts of, you know, what these people were writing on the signs of what they were saying, and said, oh, this is PewDiePie's opinion. This is what he thinks about Jews and other races and things like that. And it's like, no, that's not his opinion. He never said that was his opinion. He was just proving that people would put that sort of stuff on a sign for $5.
Yeah. Well, one part of it is like people are saying that PewDiePie has a responsibility with 53 million subscribers to take that like seriously, but also I think that extends to the Wall Street Journal and other news outlets, which is what we're talking about. Media are kind of afraid, I guess, of like people like PewDiePie because he's got so much influence and it's not subject to anything other than himself, and so that reach kind of scares people. But I mean, it's just, at the end of the day, it's just responsibility. Like I could write, if I was an editor, I could write and expose something that some big guy's done, like whoever. Like let's take a Counter-Strike example. Like I take Steel TV or whoever, and I clip some stuff out of his stream, and then I can get fame and attention on my career and have it blow up based on the fact that I ruined someone's career, and that should not be allowed, man. Shouldn't be allowed. But
that's the problem with the media is, you know, they all they care about is drama. Oh, this is spicy. Let's and it's just stupid. Like,
Yep.
no, it's very rare that they might come out with a story and be like, look how inspirational this is. They'd rather focus on, oh yeah, look at this cop and what he did to this kid, or what this kid did to this cop. And that's a more modern example, because that's a common thing these days. Is people getting arrested and excessive, or what is interpreted to be excessive force being used by the police, and people are going, oh yeah, this cop, he should be imprisoned, and it's like, well, you don't know what happened before that. This guy
I
might have
think,
had a weapon on him, but they
yeah,
don't show that in the footage. They
yeah.
just show, oh yeah, this cop did this.
I think it's so important that that's on TV though, because that is like perfect for people to see what happens when you go too far in a protest, or when you actually protest. This is a possibility, and I think that's important as well. But I definitely think that it's good for business shitting on other people. Like, to read that full article by the Wolf Street Journal online, you have to pay like $1. They would have made a killing out of that with the whole PewDiePie thing. Absolute killing.
Exactly.
And that gets back to my earlier point. It's stupid, it's retarded, and it shouldn't be allowed that you can shit on somebody and make money off that. Like, that's kind of, sometimes rappers do it, man. They start beef with each other all the time, and the only reason they do it is because it's good for business, but they kind of mask all that. And like, everyone wants to kind of know, like when there was a fight at school, it was like, oh, let's go check this out, this is interesting, a bit out of the norm, like what's going on here, or something like that,
Yeah, exactly.
God, people who cared about popularity and all that bullshit at school, I pitied them, man. All that changes when you have social anxiety. I definitely think like my social awkwardness came from after school. I was never like, I would get nervous in social interactions, but I never had an effect. Whereas now, because I don't have many and haven't strengthened that confidence, I still get a bit of anxiety. But yeah, I feel ya. Was always too busy after school to miss the downtime with mates. 2 weeks after graduation, I started work 7 days a week with every second weekend off for 6 years. Still talk to some of the boys, but it's all a part of getting older. Exactly, man. Exactly, Hitman. Nowadays though, plenty of downtime, so it gets weird for the other reason. Too much time to kill. Yeah, it's getting that balance right. How's it going, TJ? What up, combo artist? Nearly getting to the bottom of chat. If you have any questions, feel free to bring them through. We're going to wrap up this interview really soon. The anti-Semitic clips were funny enough from the media, and him saying, if I now watch a Hitler video, it will be put out of context and used against me. So he did that. Most jokes were with a meaning, but it's being put out of context. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like apparently they took a clip of him pointing in one of his videos, like as if he was like doing like a salute, like a Nazi Hitler sort of salute or whatever, and then had a response video to the drama, and he like accidentally pointed it, and he's like, no, don't fucking take that and clip that shit, But yeah, cool guys. Well, Josh, I definitely need to get you on this in the future again, man. This has been one of the best Twitch streamer interviews I've ever done. This has been so free flowing and enjoyable. I've thoroughly appreciated it.
Awesome, man. I was happy to be on here. I'm glad you thought enough to want to have me on here, so thank you for that.
Yeah, no problems, man. Thanks for coming on such short notice as well. I know I kind of sprung it on you like yesterday, or I think it was yesterday, right?
Like 1 a.m. or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry about that, man. Sorry. It kind of clicked to me. I'm like, oh, fuck, the Twitch streamer interviews. I got to get someone. And then I was on the Facebook page, and then you were online. I was like, oh my God, I had an aha moment. I was like, yes. And it's it's a hard one for me to call, because I can interview people that I have no rapport or no relationship in any capacity with, and start off in an interview in a podcast way, but I feel like it's so much more enjoyable and free flowing with someone like you, who I'm mates with, have known for a while,
Yeah.
But yeah, all right, so if you want to catch Josh on Twitch, you can follow him at twitch.tv/Grasshopper5674. I'll put this link in the description of the YouTube video. Is there any other social media pages, Josh, that people can find you on?
I've got Twitter. I don't use it much, but I get notifications and stuff. So if people wanted to contact me on there, they can do that. Or if they were to jump on Discord, I'm in your Discord as well.
Absolutely. So you can find Josh on my Discord on the Twitch link I've mentioned. And is your Twitter handle at Grasshopper5674?
It is, yeah.
Cool as. Alrighty. So that was Josh. Man, thanks for coming on once again. I just want to say once more, thanks for coming, dude. This has been an absolute pleasure. I've loved having you on here, and we'll have to do it in the future, man.
Yeah, no worries, man. Cheers for having me.
No worries, dude. You have a good night.
You too, buddy.
Alright, see you, man.
Catch you, man.
There it is. Twitch streamer interviews number 4. Dude, that was killer, man. That was such a good one. Oh, I think that one was my best one yet. I'm getting better. But I think it's also Josh because he's so easy to talk to. We chill and like talk about real shit, man. I loved it.